Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Byju's Exam Prep IAS. And today we'll be dealing with the weekly current affairs. Please confirm whether the audio and the video is clear. All right, people. So without any further delay, how to log into Byju's Exam Prep. So give in your mobile number, and if you have the registered mobile number, put in there, or you can even continue with your registered email ID. Which exam are you looking for? Click on IAS, select your state or stream, again click on IAS, and finally in the home page, this is what you will be able to see. IAS BTLP English batch. Here you will be able to access the study materials, the unit test, the webinars, and the tablet videos. Now the topics that we will be discussing today. CBDC, the digital rupee that RBI could introduce this year. Cloud bursts, Competition Amendment Bill 2022, new model for toll collection on highways, and the most important topic, and a rather very important topic which has been in news for quite a while now, the premature release of convicts who were the perpetrators of the Bilkis Bano rape case. So we will look into each of these topics in detail, especially trying to understand it and see what are the possible prelims and mains question associated with it and how to deal with it. Clear? So moving on to the very first topic, CBDC, the digital rupee that RBI could introduce this year. So CBDC, basically what it is, central bank digital currency. That is now Indian rupee note or Indian coin that is out there. This currency and this note, basically it is a guarantee that if you give this note in exchange for it, that is if I give a 10 rupees note, in exchange, in return, I will get what? I will get goods and services worth 10 rupees. So if I pay 100 rupees, again, I will get goods and services worth 100 rupees. This is the idea behind every currency. And so far, in no part of this world, in no part of our world, we have heard of what? A central bank issuing digital currency. This is unheard of. But RBI is taking up this step, this crucial step. There are many reasons for it. We will see each of these reasons one by one. But before that, let us try to understand things in detail. So CBDC is a legal tender. That means it is legally valid. So if I legally valid means if I take a 100 rupee note and I go to a shop and I ask them, I need this many goods. Nobody can deny that 100 rupee. It is a legally valid tender. If I am paying you 100 rupees for certain amount of goods, you have to accept that money. Until and unless obviously RBI or the central government passes any order saying that 100 rupee note is no more valid. Only then it becomes invalid. Other than that, nobody can deny a currency until the central bank or the government explicitly mentions so. Issued by a central bank in the digital form. Like fiat currency, it is exchangeable with the fiat currency also. Means what? What do you mean by fiat currency? Say there is 1 gram of gold. Coin is there. 1 gram gold coin. What is its price or what is its value? Its value is the same value as that of 1 gram of gold. Correct? Almost the same. Deducting the making charge, etc. The price is the same. What does it mean? Value of gold depends upon the gram, the weight of it. That is its total value. When we say a particular gold is having 10,000 rupees worth, what does it mean? It is at least close to 2 grams. So the intrinsic value of that particular commodity here, for silver, for gold, for platinum, it is highly dependent upon the value of the commodity. Now let us take a 2000 rupees note. 2000 rupees note, from where does it get its value from? Is it because the paper that is used to manufacture the 2000 rupees note is worth 2000? Or is it because it is a legal tender where a guarantee is given by the RBI that you give this 2000 rupees, you will get 2000 rupees worth goods and services? Obviously, it is because it is a legal tender. That means what? Fiat currency actually means, fiat currency, the value that it carries is more than the paper with which it is made out of, or the material with which it is made out of. That is not the case with a gold coin. Gold coin, the worth of it comes from where? The gold, the amount of gold present in it. Silver, the worth comes from amount of silver present in it. But in the case of fiat currency, the value comes from the legal guarantee. The legal guarantee that is given, not the value of the paper or the material that is used to manufacture it. It can be transacted using wallets backed by blockchain. What do you mean by blockchain? So blockchain simply means, say your name is there. Okay. Your name, your demographic details, all coming under UIDAI. That is in one part. Another block is there. Another block is there, which is provided by TRAI, where the mobile SIM card which you have taken using your Aadhaar, both these blocks gets joined together and they form a bigger block. Into this block now, a third block is added. This third block is provided by RBI. So what happens here is, constantly the data can be checked, cross-verified, and they form single block. So this single block could be associated with you. What is the advantage here? By no stretch of imagination can anybody hack into this. Because hacking into this means I will have to simultaneously change the data of UIDAI, simultaneously change the data of TRAI, simultaneously change the data of RBI. I'll have to hack into 3 different separate systems, which is not possible. So the thing with blockchain technology is that it is completely foolproof as of now. With the available technology in the world, this is foolproof. Nobody can hack it. Using this technology, you can actually do what? Transactions in digital currency. Clear? This is the idea. So when you're doing transactions of a block using blockchain technology, you cannot tamper with it. You cannot escape from the oversight of the government. You cannot even evade taxes, because everything will be digitally monitored. That is the idea. CBDCs will help the user to conduct both domestic and cross-border transactions which do not require a third party or a bank. So cross-border transactions can be conducted because you don't require a bank. Why? Because everything is based on blockchain technology. So at each and every stage, the verification has already been done. So transmitting money becomes easy. Getting the idea? Moving on, categories of CBDCs. You have wholesale CBDC, retail CBDC. Wholesale is direct and between intermediaries. Retail CBDC can be direct, indirect, or even hybrid. Let us see wholesale CBDC. So wholesale CBDC means that it is generally, it happens between the intermediaries here. Who are the intermediaries? They are basically the banks, central bank and other bank. It can be a government bank or a private bank. It helps in reducing risks related to liquidity and counterparty credit. Risks in liquidity, that is liquidity risks and all won't be there, which means what? Money supply issues and all won't be there. It will help in making the whole financial system of the country faster, safer, economical, because the verification process that you talk about or the authentication, all this can be done at the drop of a hat. It will help in improving the existing real-time gross settlement system that is used in the current systems, RTGS. So RTGS is basically a method or methodology with which you can transfer money from any bank to any bank. This will happen even more at a faster rate. It will also allow RBI to interface faster with and among its intermediaries. Interaction between RBI and other banks. Facilitate cross-border transactions between wholesale CBDC systems of multiple countries, making cross-border settlements across the participating banks much faster and safer. That is the idea here. See, bottom line of this whole thing is what? Bank-to-bank transmission will happen smoothly. That is wholesale CBDC about. It could be between central bank to central bank to a government-owned bank, or central bank to a private bank. So bank-to-bank transactions will happen at a faster rate. Verification, authentication, all that will happen at quicker and faster pace. Clear? Time can be saved, money can be saved, and overall the process is very economical. That is the idea here. Moving on, retail CBDC. What is it about? Like the word retail, when we say anything that is retail, it is all about the customer level. So for a customer, individual customer, what and all banking transactions will be there? Cash, direct claim from the central bank, or through smartphone, you make the transaction, or you make a direct claim through commercial banks, which in turn will make a claim from central bank. That is basically what you withdraw money or to make payments using Google Pay, Phone Pay, UPI, apps, etc. For all that, or even to receive. All of this you can do what? Using the retail system. So retail system of CBDC is also available. That simply means, in a nutshell, central bank's digital currency will perform all the functions that current fiat currency is performing, with the added advantage that the speed with which the transactions happen, monitoring of those transactions, the authenticity of the transactions, everything will be ensured beforehand. So things like tax evasion, black money, everything will become a thing of the past. Everything will be monitored to the dot. Clear, people? CBDC, though issued globally in different formats, is bound by three key principles. What are these principles? Non-disruption, coexistence, innovation, and competition. From the words itself, it is pretty much self-explanatory. That is, it should not interfere with the overall public policy of the government, nor with the monetary and financial stability policies of the central bank. Means what? See, ideally, government has a policy. Government's policy, what we say, the fiscal policy. And central bank's policy, what we call as the monetary policy. So both these policies should not get tampered because of introduction of CBDC. Government should not have any issue with regard to what? Collecting its taxes and spending that money for constructive purposes. Banks also shouldn't have an issue with regard to liquidity or in repaying back the interest or the loans. Coexist or complement the existing forms of currency and work in harmony with fiat currency. That is, ideally, this currency, digital currency, should work in tandem with the fiat currency. It should not try to oppose it. It should not try to negate it. Both should be available simultaneously, side by side. It should not raise demands of replacement of existing forms of currency. That also shouldn't be there. Overall efficiency through healthy competition with other existing set of digital payment systems. So the bottom line is what? Bottom line is simple. The purpose of central bank digital currency is not to replace anything. It is to enable better interaction, bank to bank, bank to customer, customer to bank, vice versa. That is the first and foremost principle. It should not affect the regular way of functioning of the banks or that of the government. And it should not try to replace or negate the position of fiat currency. This is the idea. So we saw what is wholesale CBDC. We saw what is retail CBDC. We saw what are the three principles with which guides CBDC. Moving on. Once again, key principles: non-disruption, innovation and competition, coexistence. Clear? So once again, in a nutshell, if you have to make a flow chart, what it should be? Bank to bank, or flow chart when we talk about bank. This bank can be what? Private or public. Clear? To and fro. Here you have the customer. This is what CBDC in a nutshell is supposed to be. So this can be what? This interaction can be through CBDC or through fiat currency. Nothing should get tampered here. Above and all, over and above, monetary policy, fiscal policy, these two should not get affected. That is the idea. See, the whole point of making this diagram in this way is, this is how you study. Writing long sentences will actually take a lot of time. But when you make it in a nutshell, quick revision, you will be able to do this. Getting the idea? Mind you, this is only meant for your reference, these smiley faces. Don't draw it in the exam. Clear, people? Moving on. Now let us look into the whole set of advantages when it comes to CBDC. Privacy, transferability, convenience, accessibility, financial security. All these are its advantages. Clearly, because completely done through blockchain technology. Correct? And bank to bank, individual to bank, wholesale, retail, everything is there. So transferability is also done. Convenience, you can do it through a smartphone. You need not visit the branch. Accessibility, again, smartphone is the answer. And over and above, financial security. You need not worry about your money having any, digitally getting hacked, or your money being, robbed or anything. Or even for that matter, your identity being stolen. Phishing attacks, all these what are prevented. It will decrease the maintenance that a complex financial system requires. Complex financial system, whatever maintenance is supposed to be there, that will be reduced. It will reduce the dependency on cash, higher seigniorage, lower transaction cost, and reduced settlement risk. Higher seigniorage means what? So the transaction that happens, say for example, rupees 100 is withdrawn. So there is a certain amount of cost involved here for that 100 rupees withdrawn. Let us say it is around 1 rupee, 1%, or even 2%. It keeps varying. So that 1 rupee, if it is a cost in the case of normal dealings, through CBDC, this cost of 1 rupee also can be brought down even more further. That is the idea. Robust, efficient, trusted, regulated, and legal tender-based payment option. Again, it is nothing but a continuation of point 1. Same thing only. It is a totally foolproof system. It will help in financial inclusion. So, it will help in better coverage, because all that you require for this is internet. And the smartphone penetration in India is now increasing very rampantly, that it will be easier for us now to implement CBDC. Anonymous transactions won't be there. Like I told you in the early part of my lecture, black money, money laundering will all become a thing of the past. Clear, people? Provide alternative money transfer methods with lower cost options. Again, it is another alternative. It is not that fiat currency as an alternative or as a method will be completely done away with, but the idea here is this is another method. Clear? Cross-border payments will be possible. RBI has highlighted concerns of money laundering, terror financing, tax evasion with private cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ether. It is no surprise these days that most of the nefarious activities like crime syndicates, they actually do their transactions in the dark web using Bitcoin or Ether. As a result of which, monitoring these transactions has become very difficult. And that is the reason why RBI is coming out with its own digital currency so that it gets acceptance and private cryptocurrencies are kept at bay. Public and private sector innovation. Innovation is possible. New ideas will be brought out. So those investments will actually help in what? Bringing this technology out better, even more. It will lead to new financial innovations. So today, digital currency is being pondered. Is the considered to be the currency of future. But future's future, what will it be? Getting the idea. Future's future, how are transactions going to happen? Maybe from a digital world, maybe it may even move to a metaverse world. Getting the idea. Virtual world where currencies are used. That way it can become. All right. So these are some of the positives here. However, anything that is positive, it will also have some negative. What are the negatives? The initial part of my discussion I had told you. So far, no authority in any part of the world has issued a central bank digital currency. So it is pretty new. We don't have anybody to follow as such. We don't know the pitfalls of this. We don't know the drawbacks of it yet. So we will have to walk this path alone and find out the drawbacks. Financial system stability itself can get questioned. Why? Because not every bank will be comfortable with this whole system or process. You will be requiring a backend team to deal with any glitches in the software, especially because it deals with blockchain technology. Monetary policy shouldn't be affected along with the traditional roles of the central bank. That question always is there, whether bank's role will get affected or not. Privacy and protection. Because everything you are going to put it up into the internet now using blockchain technology, enough software or firewall innovations are required to protect the data. Cyber security will have to be updated, and most importantly, financial literacy. Case in point being, see, if you go take your smartphone and ask your parents to use an UPI app, how many of them will be actually comfortable using it? $1,000,000 question. UPI apps, they are finding it difficult. Imagine the case about CBDC then. It is going to be even more difficult. More importantly, what is not mentioned here is the first biggest challenge is electricity. Why? 24/7 electricity supply, only if that is there, only then you can ensure the presence of internet. Electricity and internet is there. The next thing that is necessary is what? People should be literate enough to know how to use it. Electricity is there, internet is there, people are literate. But then comes the next issue, which is gender inequality. Southern states, still fine. That is Telangana, Andhra, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Kerala. But then, if you go to the northern states, the eastern states, or the northeastern states, there is a considerable gender gap with regard to the usage of smartphone as well as the access to internet. So without addressing these basic issues, are we literally jumping the gun by going ahead with central bank's digital currency? Food for thought. Programmable payments like direct benefit transfer can be made using CBDC. Instant lending to MSME can be done through CBDC. Why? Because be it direct benefit transfer, be it MSME, you can verify the data of beneficiaries in real time. Because why? It is blockchain technology. Cross-border remittances can be made quickly. Retail payments, offline payments, all of this can be made what? Using CBDC. So plenty of scope is there with regard to its application. That is the nutshell here. Clear, people? With that, we come to our first poll here. Your time starts now, people. All right. Answer is option C and 51. According to Reserve Bank of India, CBDC is a legal tender issued by a central bank in digital form. Statement is correct. It can never be like fiat currency as it can be transacted using wallets backed by blockchain technology. That statement is wrong. It can be like fiat currency. Statement number 2 is wrong. It allows cross-border payments in an efficient, trusted and regulated manner. Statement 3 is correct. It has the potential to provide important benefits like higher seniorage. What is higher seniorage? Let us say rupees 100 is printed. What is the cost involved in printing it? That is what it is. What I mentioned earlier, that was actually transaction cost, bank-to-bank transaction cost. This is higher seniorage. Higher seniorage actually means what? 100 rupees government printed. What is the value? Rupees 100. But for producing this rupees 100, how much did the government spend on it? For producing that one currency note. With CBDC, the advantage is the profit that is earned by the government will be less. Clear? Sorry, profit that is earned by the government will be more. Why? 100 minus the cost. As long as the cost is very less, profit will increase. Profit means higher seniorage. Apart from being a tool for digital transformation of payments, central bank digital currency has multiple facets. Discuss 15 marks, 250 words. 15 marks, 250 words means you can have an elaborate intro and an elaborate conclusion. That is, your introduction can be of 25 words. Your conclusion can be for 25 words. And your body can go up to 200 words. This is a maximum word limit. Clear, people? So how can you start your introduction? You can start your introduction with what? Definition of CBDC. And how is it a tool for digital transformation of payments? Both for retail and wholesale. And what are the multiple facets that it has? Multiple ways how it can function, all the advantages and the applications. Finally, a conclusion. What is the conclusion here? The conclusion here is obviously CBDC is the currency of future. And how it will go a long way in monitoring the transactions, monitoring the payments, and actually helping the government to prevent money laundering, terrorist financing, etc. And that will cover your answer. Clear, people? Moving on to the next topic, cloud bursts. So cloud bursts as a phenomenon, if you see, are increasing day by day. If you see it. But actually, one set of researchers have been telling that cloudburst generally occurs, is happening on a frequent basis now because of climate change. However, Indian Meteorological Department, they are telling that there is no concrete evidence to show that cloudbursts are on the rise because it is a pretty natural phenomenon that generally occurs during the southwest monsoon. Let us see that now from this diagram here. So you can clearly see clouds in a mountainous region or a hilly region. Clouds are accumulating, correct? And then you can see it is almost as if the clouds just opened and water is pouring down. And then later on we see the pouring is increasing even further. It is almost like the clouds were carrying the water and immediately they are like, okay, enough is enough. I cannot hold this anymore, and let it open. And that is what has happened here. When this will happen, at what time it will happen, where it will happen, it is very difficult to predict, because as you can clearly see, it is a very localized phenomenon. It is not something which you can predict. Okay, over a large area there is a chance that rainfall will happen. That way you cannot predict it. Suddenly in a very small area, suddenly the clouds just open up, water just falls down, and then there is intense rainfall, maybe for 24 hours or 48 hours, sometimes even more worse, 72 to 144 hours. Leading to what? Leading to intense rainfall and flooding. So if it is occurring in cities, it will lead to a phenomenon called urban flooding. If it is in a rain deficit area, it can lead to flooding, instantaneous flooding with bank erosion, overflow of rivers, etc. All of that can happen. That is why cloudburst is very important from an environmental perspective. Let us see further. It is a geo-hydrological hazard. Hydrological means associated with water. So hazard means what? It has a potential to become a disaster. That is, if people gets killed or if property damage is there, then we call it a disaster. Otherwise, it is just a hazard. Clear? Sudden, unprecedented heavy rainfall over a small geographical area. As I told you, this is very sudden. This video is still available in YouTube. You can go and search it. That is clouds moving in and suddenly without any warning, nothing. So normally how it will be? Drops will come or wind movement will be there. Sudden drop in pressure will be there. So these things will tell you whether rain is going to come or not. Clear? But here nothing as such will be there. No forewarning will be there. Suddenly it will rain and again over a small area. According to IMD, very heavy rainfall over a localized area, 20 to 30 kilometer at a very high rate of the order of 100 millimeter per hour, featuring strong winds and lightning. That is what you call as a cloudburst. These are its features. Intense it will be, for a very short, in a very short area it will be, strong winds will be there and lightning also will be there. Generally seen during the southwest monsoon season, especially in the Himalayan region, northeastern states, western Ghats. What is the common element in all the three? They are all mountainous or hilly regions. Question is, why in mountainous areas we get to see this phenomenon a lot? Why not in any other area? Answer lies over here. Okay, so basically what happens here is, as you can clearly see here, moist, warm air rises up. All right. Moist, warm air rises up. As it rises up, what happens? It will start getting condensed because temperature will drop as you go up higher and higher, and it will start getting collated, maybe settle around small dust particles and then form clouds. Okay. Now, ideally what should be happening? As the clouds gets heavier and heavier, they should start giving rain. But that doesn't occur immediately. Why? Because of the further influx of hot air that keeps on coming in. The hot air keeps pushing up the water molecules into the clouds. This goes on getting repeated to an extent where finally the clouds will not be able to hold the water anymore, and that will give rain. As you can see, warm air forced to rise, cools, condenses, and rain occurs. The air drops over the high ground, losing temperature, increasing the amount of water it can hold. This means there is little or no rain on the other side of the mountain. Whereas on this side of the mountain, the windward side of the mountain, you will clearly see what? Heavy rainfall. The leeward side, you will see less rainfall. Like for example, right now, if you see, even the monsoon season, state of Kerala is receiving very high rainfall. Whereas in Tamil Nadu, if you see, it is not so intense. Getting the idea? Scattered amounts of rains are there here and there, but not so intense. That is the idea here. So orography has got a strong correlation with cloudburst phenomenon. So cloudburst, where and all it has occurred in the last few years, if you see, once again, there is no surprise. It shouldn't be surprising that Himachal Pradesh has borne the brunt of cloudbursts. Clear, people? They are likely to occur when monsoon clouds associated with low pressure areas travel northward from Bay of Bengal across the Ganges plain onto the Himalayas and burst in heavy downpour. They occur suddenly with a catastrophic force and inflict enormous losses due to inundation and erosion. That is flooding, soil absorbing excess water, erosion, etc. happens. A place may receive about 10% of its annual rainfall within an hour. Like I told you, small area, intense rainfall. Cloudbursts are not uncommon events, especially during the monsoon months. Like I already told you, it is something that occurs normally also. As per the IMD, there is no long-term trend that suggests that cloudburst events are rising because it is something that is normal during monsoon season. Incidents of extreme rainfall and other extreme weather events are increasing across the world. So, overall, if you see, extreme weather events are increasing everywhere around the world because of climate change. Increasing proportion of rainfall is happening in a short span of time. Wet spells are becoming very wet and they are interspersed with prolonged dry spells even in the rainy season. What does that mean? That means that when it rains heavily. And once it stops raining, then you have conditions like drought. So it is extreme rain or extreme drought-like conditions. It is not normal. It is almost like it fluctuates between two extremes. They are remarkably localized phenomena and are not forecasted by the IMD. Recently, IMD erected a Doppler radar in Mukteshwar, Kumaon to monitor heavy rainfall and cloudbursts in that area. So Doppler radar, basically what does it do? It constantly keeps monitoring the cloud and the cloud movement as well as the wind pattern. With that, they try to predict the event of cloudbursts. Increasing instances of cloudbursts in Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand are results of climate change. Cloudburst events are anticipated to happen more frequently, according to experts, but according to IMD, nothing as such. There is no evidence to indicate it. Now, this is what a Doppler radar will look like. As you can clearly see, it is kept on top of a building where obviously the cloud pattern, cloud behavior, temperature, wind movement, etc. everything is studied. And depending upon that, they will be able to predict what in a localized region, whether or not cloudburst will occur. So you can give the warning in advance. You won't be able to do much here in terms of what? In terms of preventing the damages of a rain. But at least you can reduce it to a certain extent by moving people out of the way, by clearing or rather ensuring that there are plenty of channels for the water to flow. Streets are not clogged. All these you can ensure. That is the advantage. Consequences. You will have landslides and flash floods. Landslide means what? Mud, everything. Mud, big stones, etc. coming down because of gravity plus water. Flash floods, sudden increase in water level leading to what? Flash floods. So flash floods can occur when rivers overflow. Why rivers overflow? Because of cloudbursts. Destruction to life and property, quite natural. What is again happening, once again being witnessed in the state of Kerala. Damage to flora and fauna of that particular area. Animals tend to die. That is the reason why almost wherever these cloudbursts or heavy rainfall tend to occur, people generally say, don't tie your animals. Leave them free because they know how to save themselves. If you tie them, they will not be able to save. Economic loss, deposit sediment and silt, especially after flooding in Chennai, the city of Chennai, or be it in the state of Kerala. One interesting thing that was observed was that silt deposits increased inside the living room also. That is, imagine almost up to the height of almost up to, let's say, 3 to 4 feet, silt deposits were there, which had to be removed, painstakingly removed. It will damage public infrastructure and utilities, basically to get back the socio economic life of the people gets tampered with. Clear? Second poll of the day on your screens. All right. 54% have answered it correctly. Anwar Basha, Abhijit S, Kavyashri Gajaravu, Komal, Anshika Saini, Abhishek Kumar, Priya Rani, Alish Singh, Ajit Kumar, Talluri Anuradha, Pallavi, Aslin, Vikash, Nabin Kumar Parida, Alfred, Noripchi D. Marak, Jhalak, Urmila De, Saktivel, Arzu Malik, Varsha. So, congratulations to all of you. Now, coming to the question here. First point, it is a weather phenomenon with unexpected precipitation. True. Exceeding 100 millimeter per hour. Correct. Over a geographical region of approximately 20 to 30 square kilometer. That is also correct. First statement is correct. That means A and C are my only options here. I can easily eliminate B out of this, D out of this. Because I know for sure that statement number 1 is correct. So in my answer, 1 should be there. B and D are eliminated means automatically 2 is out of the equation. I need to only worry about 3 now. But having said that, let us still go to 2. In India, cloudburst events are mostly associated with northeast monsoon season. That is wrong. It is associated with southwest monsoon season. Over the regions dominated by orography like the Western Ghats. Orography is correct. Western Ghats is also correct. But no, it is not associated with northeast. It is associated with southwest. Predicting cloudbursts is easier due to their localized nature, and forecasts are made available by IMD a few days in advance, which is again wrong. It is not at all easy. That is why they are keeping Doppler radar in localized region, because localized region to go and place Doppler radar, the cost is too much. Just to find out whether in this particular region cloudburst will occur or not. For a larger geographical area, when you place such high-tech gadgets, it makes sense. But for a small geographical area, the cost is very high. So it is not easy. 3 is also wrong. That means only option A is the correct answer. Evaluate the consequences of a cloudburst event and suggest some mitigation measures. Consequences, we saw 6 consequences are there. So once again, before we go ahead with that, 10 marks, 150 words. 10 marks, 150 words means very short intro and a short conclusion. So how can you start your introduction? Straight away go for definition of cloudburst. Intense, 20 to 30 square kilometer. Correct? Consequences. The 6 consequences: human life, infrastructure, animals, siltation, all of that. Conclusion: using Doppler radar, predictions can be made to an extent. And your answer is complete. This is all that is there to it. Clear, people? Moving on. Competition Amendment Bill of 2022. This here basically bills, how important are they from a prelims perspective? Generally in prelims, bills etc. very rarely they come. Schemes they also come very rarely in the prelims. More often than not they come actually in the mains. That is direct question you can expect. What are the provisions of Competition Amendment Bill 2022? They can ask direct questions. So until and unless if you don't know its major provisions, you won't be able to move one step forward. So let us look into Competition Amendment Bill now. The Competition Act of 2002 was introduced to replace the Monopolies and Restrictive Trade Practices Act of 1969. That is the MRTP Act of 1969. What was the MRTP Act's core significance? Prevent monopolies. That is, MRTP Act was actually brought in a time period where license, permit, Raj was still in vogue or still in fashion. What do you mean by the license, permit, Raj? If I am running a company, okay, before running a company, if I want to start a company, I needed concerned permit for it. Permits, etc. I have to take. Now, let us say I want to increase the production. Increasing the production should be a good thing, right? That clearly shows my product is in demand. That is why I'm increasing production. It is good and better because I can have more factories. I can employ more people. But no, not in the India before 1990s. In the India before 1990s, even if you wanted to increase your production, you required a license for it. Even if I want to start a new branch, again I will have to go and seek same set of permission as if I'm opening a fresh branch. So for each and everything I had to go and get what? Permission. Only then I can start anything. So MRTP Act was again a result of that. That is, the whole idea was to prevent monopoly. But what it inadvertently lead to? It led to what? Poor industrial base, poor investments, poor private participation. To replace all that, Competition Act of 2002 was introduced. Clear? Anti-competitive agreements. Any existing of such agreements is considered illegal. Abuse of dominant position is also considered illegal. Anti-competitive agreements. So what is these agreements about? Two major companies, they come together and make a tie-up that we will not compete with each other, we will compete with everybody else. We will devise policies such that other competitions are wiped out and only you and me will be the major player. That is considered to be illegal. Abuse of dominant position. What do you mean by abuse of dominant position? I am a very big e-commerce platform. I have a lot of subsidiary companies. So let us say a small shop, a smartphone selling shop is giving some offer. Let us say 10% discount. Whereas as an e-commerce platform, me being a very large player, I am offering 25 to 30% discount. I can afford it because where the shop is only able to sell maybe 100 phones, I am selling around 1 lakh, 2 lakh phones. The number itself is huge. So for me, the profit margin I'm able to make there. So this is called abuse of your dominant position, where you sell it at such a price that no competitor will be able to even match up to it. Combinations. What do you mean by combinations? As per the Act, a combination means acquisition or merger. Combinations that cross the limits prescribed in the Act have to get approval from Competition Commission of India. Competition Commission of India, who are they? The Act establishes CCI as an independent body duly responsible for enforcing Competition Act of 2002. So basically, if you see, anti-competitive agreement is basically what? Basically to stop anything that will prevent a competition. See, ideally, if you see, today, now so many smartphones are there in the market. What is the reason for it? Competition is there. So many brands are there, so many companies are there. What is the reason that these many companies are fighting out it with each other? Competition is there. Nobody is having a dominant position. Agreed, worldwide, if you see, Apple and Samsung are coming neck to neck when it comes to competition. But the fact of the matter goes, there is a good amount of customers who prefer a Chinese handset or a Chinese made handset compared to the Korean Samsung or the American Apple because of the features and the price. So competition is always good from the side of the customer for innovation, everything. Wherever competition is not there, that will lead towards stagnation. That is CCI's first purpose. That is to see to it that there is no such thing. There is no stagnation. Everything moves smoothly. That is the first purpose here. Nobody is abusing their dominant position. That is case in point being to USA. Let us go to USA now. Walmart is there, Amazon is there. Two major players competing it out with each other. So let us say I went to a shop in USA, the Walmart store in USA. December sales, something is going on. Christmas sales are going on. I picked up a DSLR camera. It has been kept at a very low price. At a throwaway price, they have kept it. Let us say $30. All right. Or $100. Let's be a little more reasonable. $100. It's a sale. It's a sale. Christmas sale it is. I check the camera's price in Amazon. And I find that it is being sold there at $90. If I show that to the cashier in the counter saying that in Amazon it is available for $90, the cashier will tell me, okay, then just pay 90. And they'll immediately update the price of the commodities there inside Walmart. That is called competition. Getting the picture? That is called competition. So nobody gets to abuse their dominant position there. Getting the idea? So this is the purpose of Competition Act. This is what the Competition Act is trying to achieve. Agreed, in India we are yet to achieve that level of profit and all. But ultimately, who stands to benefit? The customer. Clear? Because of the intense competition. Plus the combination. Acquisitions and mergers should not be anti-competitive in nature or should not be for abusing the dominant position. That is the idea. Clear? Under the new bill, deal value threshold is introduced wherein a transaction will require approval of the CCI if deal value exceeds rupees 2000 crore. So in the new amendment bill, what they have done is deal value they have fixed. So any acquisition, any merger is happening, then if the deal is for more than 2000 crore and if either party has substantial business in India, then they will require prior approval from CCI. Earlier, what used to be the case? Earlier, it was not based on deal value. It was based on assets. If the assets are more than rupees 1000 crore or turnover was more than 3000 crore, only then approval of CCI was required. Nowadays, it is not like that. Nowadays, is it more than 2000 crore? Is any one of the business entity have substantial operations here in India? Then yes, you will have to take prior approval from CCI. Because what is CCI trying to look into? Whether this merger or acquisition will be anti-competitive. Whether it will lead to abuse of dominant power or dominant position. Clear? The new bill gives 150 days for CCI to complete its assessment of any combination. 150 days. Earlier it used to be what? 210. Nowadays it is 150. The number of days that is available for CCI has been reduced. What is the advantage there? Ease of doing business, ranking will improve. Clear, people? The bill amends the definition of control to include the ability to exercise material influence over affairs and management of another enterprise. Material influence means all the goods associated with the affairs and management of the other enterprise. Whereas earlier it was only what? Decisive influence. Decisive influence means with regard to only decision making control was there. The bill provides a framework for settlements and commitments for cases relating to vertical agreements and abuse of dominance. How to settle disputes. The bill talks about it. Whereas the earlier bill had no provision or mechanism to settle disputes. Clear? The bill allows parties under investigation to approach CCI for early termination of proceedings on the basis of offering remedies and cooperation. That is, If at all CCI is having an issue with them, they can move to CCI to resolve it and take the remedial action much in advance. Earlier, CCI used to initiate proceedings because of anti-competitive agreements and abuse of dominant position. So here, even before CCI takes such a drastic step, you can go and ask CCI, okay, something like this we have done and we think this is the problem. What remedies can we do here now? What are the remedial measures? Penalty for jumping the gun over a combination is to be 1% of the deal value. Earlier it was 1% of the asset or turnover. What do you mean by jumping the gun? That is even before you acquire CCI approval. If you go ahead with the deal, then 1% of the deal value will be the penalty. So let us say if it is 2000 crore, 1% of 2000 crore is what? 20 crore will be the fine that you will have to pay. Earlier it was based on either assets or the turnover. CCI can appoint Director General with prior approval from the government. Earlier it was central government to appoint a Director General to CCI. Now it is not like that. CCI will appoint, but with the approval of the central government. Now, how far has CCI performed well? 2002 Competition Act 2002 basically established what? The CCI. What is its performance now? Competition Commission has adjudicated more than 1,200 antitrust cases with the case disposal rate of 89%. The average time taken by the Commission to review mergers and acquisitions remained at a record low of 30 days. The Commission has reviewed more than 900 mergers and acquisitions to date. The Commission has introduced several innovations like Green Channel, provision for automated approval on mergers and acquisitions, and cleared more than 50 such transactions. CCI has imposed a penalty on the Board of Control for Cricket in India in 2013 for misusing its dominant position in IPL franchise agreements. This is the report card. These are the facts. These are the facts which you will use for your mains answer. Because let me tell you, everybody will write general statements. Everybody will write CCI is doing good, CCI is great, CCI has done a lot of good work. That everybody will write. What is the good work? How many cases has been disposed of? What is the real performance? How many cases were CCI has imposed fines? Clear, hardcore data is necessary. It is very important that in your mains answer, whoever is evaluating it, they should get the feeling that this answer has been written by a professional. That is the idea. Clear, people? So, case disposal rate is 89%. Time taken for reviewing mergers and acquisition is less than 30 days. 900 mergers and acquisitions have been reviewed so far. There is a green channel to faster merger and acquisition process. BCCI was fined for misusing its dominant position in the field of cricket. CCCI also imposed a fine of rupees 258 crore on Jet Airways, Indigo and SpiceJet in 2015 for cartelization in determining fuel surcharge on air cargo. Like I told you, two or three dominant players coming together to decide on the fuel surcharge, which is again what? Misusing your dominant position. Commission has ordered an antitrust probe against the internet major Google for abusing its dominant position with Android to block its market. Basically what? If you actually open any Android phone today, you can only open Google. You can only open Google. Google is the only thing that comes over there. No other internet service provider will work better other than Google there, or search engines. So which is again what? Misusing your dominant position, or rather taking away the right from the customer to decide which search engine he or she wants to use. Clear, people? CCCI. Now the problems. Many challenges starting from implementation of the competition law. It is not at all easy in a complex economy like that of India's. Clear? Why? Because you have so many business establishments. Each business establishment, how are they going to merge? What acquisition? All that will make, a huge difference. Case in point being, take the e-commerce platform. Amazon, for instance. So for those of you who have purchased products from Amazon, you will be knowing something. That is, there is something known as Amazon's choice. Something will get marked over a product. And interestingly, if you see some of these products which are being sold, where this Amazon's choice label is there, some product, okay, product produced by some random company, let us say EFG is the company that produces this product. Interestingly, if you observe EFG's shareholders, you will find that Amazon owns at close to 30 to 50% of the shares in EFG. Means what? Amazon is using its platform to basically sell those products in which Amazon has a stake. So what happens there? When you buy the product from Amazon, Amazon gets its commission. In addition to it, Amazon gets the profit also by selling that particular product, which is again what? Misusing your dominant position. Getting the idea? That is the reason why government has come up with very strict rules that these are anti-competitive practices. This shouldn't be done. Every product should get what? An equal opportunity there. Clear? Transition in antitrust issues of the current era and changing business practices to the examination of issues involving digital economy and e-commerce. So we must understand one thing here. Things are going to change very drastically now, or rather we are in the cusp of that transition. That is, the future is going to be such that almost every transaction that we know of will go or rather become digital. Shopping itself, if you see these days, the provision is there whereby which even without trying the clothes, virtually you can see how the cloth will look good on you. You need not even step into the showroom or the mall. That provision is available today. So everything becoming digital, it is important that the transition process, to embrace it, CCI should be capable of it. CCI is usually understaffed and it has no sufficient resources to carry out the investigation against big corporations like big tech companies. See, the point here is understaffing or shortage of staffing is a perennial problem associated with every government agency out there. Once you join the government service, you will also get to know what are the problems there. Sometimes you will think that you are a big IAS officer, everything will happen. You know, once you go there, everything will happen. Sometimes you yourself will have to go to the photostat machine, Xerox things for yourself, stapler it, file it, all that you may have to do by yourself. Why? Understaffing is an issue. Due to limited benches, the commission, there is pendency in cases. For acquisition and merger cases, it takes a long time to settle the cases. Limited benches means what? There are limited venues to hear the cases. As a result of which, what happens is the cases associated with acquisition and mergers, they tend to take a very long time. That was about Competition Amendment Bill 2022. We saw how it was a marked improvement from MRTP Act. We saw from Competition Amendment Bill 2002 to 2022, what are the significant changes? First one is the deal value got introduced. Number two, from 210 to it came down to 150 days. Then we also saw how the bill gives preference to the deal value and how it prevents anti-competitive agreements, abuse of dominant position, penalty based on the deal value again. These are some of the core ingredients there. Now let us look into the poll question here. Very good, Deepika. Third topic to some extent can be linked to NCERT economics. Example, Permit Raj and 1990 reforms. Yes, very good. Good thinking. And the textbook that you are referring to is Indian Economic Development. Yes, 70% have answered it correctly. Very good. Very good, very good. That is a marked improvement. So, a very complex topic which will look like complex at the outset, but 70% of you got it correct. Let us, 1 second. Anwar Basha, Abhijit, Kavyashri, Gajaravu, Abhishek Kumar, Priyarani, Alish Singh, Talluri Anuradha, Pallavi, Ashlin, Vikash, Nabin Kumar Parida, Alfred, Norpichi D. Marak, Jhalak, Urmila De, Shaktivel, Arzu Malik, Ananda Kumar D, Kapil, Naveen, Bhumi Boyer. Congratulations. Good going. Under the new bill, if the deal value of a combination exceeds 2000 crore, approval from CCI is mandatory. That's a correct statement. As per the bill, CCI has to complete its assessment for any combination within 150 days, which is also correct because earlier it was 210. In this case, this is deal value. Earlier it was based on the asset value or turnover. So both the statements are correct. C is the correct answer. Clear, people? There is an urgent need to ensure fair competition and improve choices for consumers. In this context, highlight the significance of the Competition Commission of India and mention some issues faced by it. So first thing is, CCI was established under the Competition Bill 2002. All right, where the focus was on what? Anti-competitive agreement, abuse of dominant power. Clear? These 2 points are the major concern. Then the type of mergers and acquisitions that happens there. That is a combination. These are the focus areas. And this will basically ensure fair competition. How significant it is? You give the case studies. About 89% of the, what is it? Cases being taken up. Less than 30 days being used to clear the mergers and acquisitions. Provision of green channel. How BCCI, SpiceJet, etc. was fined. That also you will mention. And then issues. Understaffing. Funding you can put. Research you can put. Benches you can put. Solution. New amendment bill. Excuse me. New amendment bill. You can put it as the way forward or the solution, or in the conclusion part. Will go a long way in rectifying these issues. With that, your answer is complete. Clear, people? New model for toll collection on highways. Let us relax now a little. Back to back heavy topics I was giving you. So now let us take a slow back seat. So we all know one thing. In toll plazas, generally we use what? Fastags. Correct? A small sticker placed on the windshield as the car enters. So if this is your car, universal design. So here you have a sticker on the windshield. And then here you have an RFID scanner which sends a signal and reads it. Once it reads it, the toll over here, this opens. This is the funda. RFID tag. What is it? Radio frequency identification. Correct? So RFID, radio frequency. Using radio frequency, you are identifying the vehicle, its owner, and the associated bank account and mobile number to which the car has been registered or linked. That is the idea here. The whole purpose of putting this RFID tag in the toll booth or toll plazas were to save on time and to save on fuel also, because the waiting time period when you manually make the payment, take the receipt, that is huge. So to save on that, only RFID tags were introduced. But later on it was found that even these RFID tags also is taking considerable amount of time, leading to traffic blockage, leading to wastage of fuel as well as wastage of time. So how to, what is it, improve upon this now? And there comes a new technology. What is it? We'll see one by one. To replace toll plazas on national highway with cameras to capture number plates and charge owners of the vehicles. So till now, if RFID sticker was being captured, now what is going to be captured is the number plate. So if you see, those of you who have bought cars, especially from 2019, after 2019, if you have bought a car, you will be knowing that the number plate is actually provided by the dealer from where you are purchasing the car. And this car actually has a code which can be read by the cameras. That is a simple funda to it. Why? Because there is congestion at the toll plazas. FASTag was introduced by Government of India. The Ministry of Road Transport and Highways has decided to replace toll plazas with cameras that can read number plates, also known as automatic number plate reader cameras. Number plates will be read. Instead of the RFID tags, number plates will be read. And who will be doing the job here? Cameras. So RFID technology means RFID, radio frequency identification technology. For those of you who have driven their car into a toll booth, again, you would have observed, you have to drive very slowly, almost stop exactly below the scanner. Only then the scanner will be able to send a signal, detect it, and then you will be able to move the car. Otherwise, you will have to wait there. And sometimes what happens is, during heavy rain, etc., the identifying tag, etc., won't work. So that time manually these people will come with small handheld scanners to read it, and then you can go again. So these drawbacks are there. So how to rectify it? The future is what? Automatic number plate reader. Let us see. According to data provided by government sources, with fast tags, it takes about 47 seconds per vehicle to cross a toll plaza. Congestion is still reported as there are toll gates that needs to be crossed after authentication. More than 260 vehicles can be processed per hour through the electronic toll collection lane compared to 112 vehicles per hour in the manual toll collection lane. So yes, efficiency is by more than 100% with regard to what? RFID tags. It has helped in economic development. Why? Faster commutation. When time saved is what? Money saved. Goods and services reaching on time. Goods transportation, logistics issue, etc. are not there. For example, the severity of traffic congestion in port and industrial areas creates loss of materials or delay in supply of the product. Socio-economic environmental impact. So socio-impact we know, better connectivity, people save on time, etc. What is the environmental impact? Harmful greenhouse gases release is reduced. That is the environmental impact there. Now, what is FASTag? I have already explained it to you, but let us just do it once more in detail. It uses radio frequency identification technology. These are rechargeable tags. So, most of the time, it is associated with any of the UPI payment platforms like Paytm, PhonePe, etc. Clear? So automatically, as you cross it, automatically the money is deducted. These are stuck to the window panes of the vehicles. Toll collection through FASTag network reported a 3.02% rise to rupees 4,218.89 crore during April 2022 compared with March 2022. That is a 3% increase. Compared with April 2021, number of FASTag transactions increased by 61.87%. Currently, 97% of total toll collection is happening through FASTag. That means only 3% is happening through manual toll collection. Clear? This is what the camera will look like. So here basically the funda is very simple from this image. I'll explain it to you. Basically, this will read the number plate. Plus what else will this camera do? It will also read your speed. Fine will get deducted automatically. Getting the idea? Fine will automatically get deducted. They will say violation for driving at this much speed, at this particular area, at this particular time. They will give all the details with the image. Photograph also will be captured. That is the purpose of this. I am not talking about something futuristic. This has already been installed in the city of Bengaluru. Getting the picture here, people? So riding, without having any care in the world, just because it is an empty road or a highway, you cannot do that anymore. That is the point here. So this technology is already there. Moving on. Observe. So one side you are seeing, you can see here now, the number plate is being read by the camera. Automatic number plate reading system we are explaining here. All right. Then the whole vehicle is being scanned. And the system discovered what? There is no helmet. Immediately, what is the next thing that is going to happen? Fine. Automatic. Automatically, the fine will be generated. Moving on the right side image, as usual, number plate will be read. But observe, the guy is wearing a helmet, so it shows a green signal. That means what? Green color indicates no need to deduct a fine. Completely automated. That is what is going to happen. So in the future, even if you are driving a car, the camera will be having vision enough clarity enough to check whether or not you are wearing a seat belt. So if the seat belt is not there, automatically you get fined. So this is an automated system, thereby reducing the necessity for what? Traffic police can be cut down. Amount of traffic police that is needed to monitor whether a person is wearing helmet or not, whether the person has been driving at fast speed or not, whether wearing seat belt or not, these things need not be checked. So this reduces what? The manpower required for monitoring the traffic will come down. Future, what is going to happen? It will be taken over by cameras. So let us say a vehicle has been stolen. You have reported the theft. Automatically it gets updated into the system. The moment any one of these cameras detects the number plate, what happens? The person is alerted. The police, the cops are alerted. So this way what happens? Crime fighting also to a great extent will be helped using this new system. Clear, people? Moving on. Let us read that in detail now. Automatic number plate recognition is a technology that uses optical character recognition on images of vehicle registration plates to read the vehicle's registration number. Optical character recognition is a software technology that electronically identifies the text which is written or printed inside an image file or physical document. So generally it can be even a holographic image. That holographic image. So holography, when you buy a new textbook, generally on the front page or on the cover of the book, you will find this holographic silver image, which if you shake it in the light, it will show, some kind of movement there. That holographic image is basically an indicator of what? The textbook is genuine. It is from the genuine publisher. It is not a fake product. Similarly, holography also can be used here. Holographic images can be used to detect read what is the number plate and the owner, the connected bank account, etc. Such as a scanned document and converts it into a machine readable text form to be used for data processing. ANPR, there are two types again. Fixed systems. Fixed ANPR system are those that are installed at a specific location and point in time, like the speed cameras. They will read the number plate, read your speed, deduct the fine, send you the details. Fine, this much amount was deducted on so and so date for going at this much speed at this particular time, at this particular location. You will have nothing to do because the money has already been deducted. You cannot do anything about it. For example, these systems may be installed at toll booths, border crossings, or other strategic locations. Wherever you feel, there is a security threat or an internal security issue, border areas, etc., you can place these cameras to keep an absolute check over, vigilance over the vehicles that are moving there. Mobile systems. Mobile ANPR system are those that are carried by a vehicle and can be used to scan the registration plates of other vehicles. For example, these systems may be used by police cars to track down wanted vehicles. Mobile APNR means what? Police jeep is moving in. Inside the jeep itself, cameras are placed. So that as the jeep is moving, whichever vehicles are there in front, camera will keep reading. And the moment it detects stolen vehicle, it will immediately alert the cops that vehicle is a stolen vehicle. Or if at all that vehicle has been, a red alert has been sent out that this particular vehicle, particular Innova, particular Qualis needs to be stopped, system will alert the cops. ANPR cameras will read vehicle number plates and automatically deduct toll from the linked bank accounts of vehicle owners. That is what I told you. Automatically, just like how toll fees is being deducted out, automatically what will happen here? Even if you violate a law, speed, you didn't wear helmet, even that also will get deducted automatically. Entry and exit of toll roads will have cameras capable of reading number plates, and toll will be deducted based on these cameras. Simple system, very easy. Camera will read the number plate. From one point you have entered the toll, another point you have exited the toll. Both the times number plates will be read, and what will happen? They will deduct the money. Clear? Now, what is the limitation? ANPR cameras can't read all the number plates in India. It can register only those number plates that have come after 2019. That means only whatever number plate has been registered in the last 3 years, only that can be registered. That means what the only solution to that is these days you have cash tolls. Cash toll booths are there where cash is collected. In the other areas, you will see FASTag, like that it will be written. So future will be what? FASTag, and then one more which says automatic number plate reading. So whoever wants their number plate to be read automatically after 2019, if your vehicle is, go through ANPR. Remaining go through the FASTag count or manual. Like that it should be placed. Till when? Till all the vehicles, what is it? Get a number plate which is brand new. That is after 2019. After all of that, that means it is going to take quite a few time. It will take definitely at least 10-15 years for a pan-Indian ANPR system to be activated. Government in 2019 had come out with a rule mandating passenger vehicles to have company fitted number plates, which has this OCR. Creating ecosystem. Success of ANPR cameras will depend on creating an ecosystem that is in sync with the requirements of the camera. So camera requires what and all? Clarity, dust pollution, nothing should be there. Humidity, fog, nothing should be there. That ecosystem should be created there. Is it possible in India? Reading texts beyond numbers. So far, if it is only number plate, ANPR cameras will read it. But in case beyond the 9-digit registration number, Government of India, Delhi, etc., any other edition is there, means it will not read it. That means in the number plate, only the number, the registration, only that should be there. Nothing else should be available there. That is the bottom line. Missing or misreading. ANPR cameras face problems while reading number plates on trucks. Why? Most of the trucks number plates, if you see, generally not only trucks, some buses, some auto drivers, all these if you take, auto rickshaws if you take, you will find that the number plates are not clear. And wherever the number plates are not clear, it becomes difficult for the ANPR cameras to read them. Case in point being, A pilot program on a key expressway has found that about 10% of vehicles with such number plates are being missed by the ANPR cameras. They are not even able to read it. Clear, people? With that, we come to an end of the topic. So, question on your screen. A whooping 84% have answered it correctly. Very good, people. So let us check out the leaderboard here. Anwar Basha, Abhijit S, Kavyashri Gajaravu, Abhishek Kumar, Priyarani, Alish Singh, Talluri Anuradha, Pallavi, Ashlin, Vikash, Nabin Kumar Parida, Alfred, Noripchi D, Marak, Jhalak, Urmila De, Shaktivel, Arzu Malik, Ananda Kumar D, Kapil, Naveen, Bhumi Boyer. So consistently, many of you have secured correct answers so far. It is not only about securing the correct answer here, but obviously you should be fast also in replying. That is why few of your names, even though you're answering it correctly, may not have figured in the leaderboards list. Let us look into it. It uses optical character recognition on images of vehicle registration plates to read the vehicle's registration number. Correct. It can read vehicle number plates and automatically deduct toll from the linked bank account of vehicle owners. Correct. At present, it can register only those company-fitted number plates which were introduced after a 2019 government order mandating them. That is also correct. Correct answer is option D, 1, 2 and 3. Going for the mains question. The new technology innovation of automatic number plate reader cameras could help in reducing and managing the toll congestion in recent times. Analyze. So how can it help? So 15 marks, 250 words. That means you should start your answer with a definition. Elaborate, little elaborate. What do you mean by ANPR? Definition of ANPR, OCR, that all you will explain there. Then, how will it help in reducing and managing the toll congestion? So, you will talk about the fixed system. You will talk about the mobile system. And how it will help in managing toll congestion. Then you will explain what it will not help. Because it is an analyze question. Analyze question means you have to support the statement as well as oppose it. So analyze means yes, it will help in a larger way, but no, it will not help. Why? Only for vehicles after 2019. Soiled number plates, it cannot read. Anything other than the 9 digits, it won't read. Way forward. What is the solution? Manual, FASTag, and then ANPR. All the three should be available in the toll booth. So some of you, I saw it here that in case ANPR, you are linking into a bank account, you cross the toll and suddenly there is no money in your account, then what will happen? What is there to happen? You will pay it manually. So normally, if it is through current system, if you see FASTag, if it is 60 rupees as per FASTag, if you are paying it as cash, it is 120, double of it. So similar way, you go in ANPR, found out you are not having money. What happens automatically? You will have to pay the cash manually. Where you will have to pay? The point where you entered, there itself the system will read it, that you don't have money. There itself the system will read it. So the next toll where you exit out, there you will have to make the payment. Getting the idea? So it is, yes, it is going to be a very cumbersome system. It will have to be practical aspects A lot of practical problems are there which needs to be worked out by the concerned officials as well as the administration. And for the most important and very controversial topic, the premature release of convicts. During the communal riots in Gujarat 2002, a family who wanted to escape the carnage that was happening there, the inhuman, barbaric acts that were unfolding there, to escape from the entire thing, they were fleeing from their village. But unfortunately, they landed right into the hands of a few rioters. The family was butchered, and a woman within that family, hardly 20, 22 years old, she was raped. The worst part was that she was pregnant at that point of time. It is very important now when we are dealing with this topic here. I want you to think not as a representative of either this religion or that religion or this religion. You are going to interpret this topic as an Indian, number one, first thing. Second thing, you are going to see this as an officer. As an officer of the law, let us say you are the district superintendent of police or you could be the district collector there. Such a verdict was there, has been released. You are in charge of that district. And suddenly you are having this worry that what if again communal tensions spike up in the city? What if there is again a new bout of what extremist elements using this to recruit innocent youth into terrorism? These are your concerns now. So from that perspective, I want you to interpret this topic. Not as representatives of any political party or any political ideology or religious ideology. That is irrelevant here. This is a humanitarian issue. Only you are going to see it in that aspect. As a common, for every common Indian citizen out there, who is a hardworking citizen out there, how will they be affected with this news? What precedent will this create for future barbaric crimes like gang rape? That is the mindset I want you to develop. So don't come out with any arguments or any statements saying that, so what about that case then? What about this case then? No whataboutery here. This is a humanitarian issue and we are going to see it only in that form. Clear, people? So, this case occurred. Bilkis Bano, the victim, or rather the survivor, was the one who was affected by it. She lost her family. She lost her 3-year-old daughter. It was a night where she lost everything. But her will to fight, her will to move forward for justice was immense. As a result of which, National Human Rights Commission, the Supreme Court, etc. got involved. And finally, an investigation by the Central Bureau of Investigation was ordered. CBI filed a charge sheet, etc. And because of immense amount of public pressure, or rather pressure from the side of the government of Gujarat, the case was transferred, the hearing was transferred to Maharashtra. And finally, in 2008, Special CBI court sentenced 11 accused in this case to life imprisonment on the charges of conspiring to rape a pregnant woman, murder, and unlawful assembly under the Indian Penal Code. So generally, with regard to riots, there is a certain element of spontaneity. Spontaneity means, what does it mean? That is, it takes fraction of a second for a crowd to become a mob, a violent mob. Suddenly, when everybody is pushing each other, then suddenly everybody will start doing the same thing. Push each other. If one person throws a punch, then everybody will start throwing a punch. Why are they doing it? He did it, so I also did. That sort of a mentality. But in the case of Bilkis Bano, it cannot be said that the whole act was spontaneous. Rather, it was to an extent premeditated, planned. That is why conspiracy comes into the picture. These are all legal findings, mind you, not my findings. Honorable Supreme Court's findings these were. That is the reason why life imprisonment was given. Let us see forward now, facts of the case. Now, very recently what happened, one of the 11 convicts of this case approached the Gujarat High Court to seek remission of the sentence of life imprisonment under section 432 and 433 of the Code of Criminal Procedure. So what is remission? Generally, if life imprisonment is given to a convict, to a accused, or sorry, rather a convict, when life imprisonment is given, you have to serve a minimum period of 15 years. Minimum period of 15 years if you have served, then you can ask for remission under section 432 and 433 of the CRPC. That is, you have served 15 years. Now please let go of me. Please allow me to be released. Please let go of my sentence, remaining sentence, as I am too old now. I have a family. I have health issues, etc. I want to spend time with my family, etc., etc. Many reasons will be given, and finally, it is left to the government to take a decision or not. The Gujarat High Court, however, dismissed this plea and observed that in this case, the appropriate government to take a decision on the question of remission is Maharashtra and not Gujarat. Why Maharashtra? Because Maharashtra is where the case verdict was given. So ideally, Maharashtra is the one who should be taking the decision on remission there. The concerned convict then approached the Supreme Court with a plea that he had been in jail over 15 years without remission as of 2022, without getting any remission. So far I was in jail, now please release me. Supreme Court directed the Gujarat government to look into the issue of remission of his sentence. Supreme Court directed. Now Supreme Court directed, what happened? One more thing the Supreme Court did, directed the Gujarat government that the remission in this case would be governed by the remission policy of 1992 and not by the new remission policy 2014 of the government of Gujarat. And here lies the trouble. See, let me tell you, till Nirbhaya gang rape case took place, the punishment as far as gang rape was concerned was, to be very frank, very less. But following that, government made it very clear that a gang rape means it was easy, either capital punishment or life imprisonment. And if it is gang rape with murder, capital punishment is going to be the condition there. So this was made very clear by the law. And we know that later onwards, many states, state government, because law and order is a state subject, they amended the law also. So now the question comes, what remission policy? Why? So the remission policy of 2014 of Gujarat, what does that say? That says that if it is a life imprisonment for the heinous crimes, you're not going to get any remission. Even if you cover 15 years, 20 years, 25 years, you're in jail. If it is a very heinous crime, you're not going to get any remission. That is the most updated policy. But when did that policy come? 2014. When did the verdict come? 2008. And we know one thing. If I broke a law today, let us say today I drove the car very fast, I have to pay a fine, let us say 1,000 rupees. Because today's law mandates me for over speeding, it is 1,000 rupees is the fine. So I paid the 1,000 rupees. Tomorrow the government changes the rule and says what? Punishment is henceforth 2,000. Punishment is henceforth 2,000. I broke the law today. What is today's law? When I broke it, that is significant. The date on which I broke it and on that date, what law is existing. That has importance or relevance. So, what happens is, just because the verdict was given in 2008, remission policy of 2014 doesn't apply. Because on 2008, when the verdict was given, what was the remission policy in existence at that point of time? It was the very old policy of 1992. And there lies the trouble. A mere technicality. That technicality is the reason. The technicality within the law was the reason why these 11 convicts got a remission guaranteed. Because under remission policy of 1992, no such, demarcation or delineation is made where they say that, okay, heinous crimes means you won't get a, remission. Nothing like that. It has not been clearly defined there. Whereas in 2014's remission policy, everything is clearly defined. Let us see further. New remission policy of 2014 of the government of Gujarat makes those convicted of rape ineligible for premature release. However, remission policy of 1992 of the government of Gujarat did not exclude those convicted of rape from executive remission. There lies the trouble. Technicality. Following which the government of Gujarat formed a committee which took a unanimous decision in favor of remission of all the 11 convicts in the case and sent recommendation to the state government, and the convicts were released. In fact, even in this committee's formation, some of the glaring irregularities, presence of ruling party MLAs, absence of judge who gave the verdict, who sentenced these people, these 11 convicts, for life imprisonment. Now, is this an issue? Yes and no. MLAs can be part of this committee. There is no rule or law, barring it. But the presence of the ruling party's MLAs within that committee by default will do what? Influence the decision of that committee. Number one. Number two, absence of the judge who gave the verdict. Is that also illegal? There is nothing in the law that says that the judge's opinion should be considered. Even if the judge's opinion is taken, it is not binding. It is only recommendatory. That means what? Even if the judge is against the release of these convicts, nobody can do anything about it. That is judge's opinion. They can either take it or reject it completely. Clear? So as you can clearly see, the whole process of remission, if you see now, it is entirely based on technicalities, fault system within the legal framework, or loopholes within the legal framework associated with remission. That is the issue here. Now let us see it in a little more in detail. Prison being a state subject under Schedule 7 of the Constitution of India, the state governments have laid on various behavior and activities that can earn prisoners a certain number of days as remission. Conditions are put up. That is good behavior. Excuse me. Good behavior inside the jail, taking part in activities which will help other inmates to, revive, resuscitate themselves, etc. The earned days as remission are then deducted from the given sentence according to the system enshrined in the Prisons Act of 1894. Prisons Act of 1894. Clearly it means what? This is from the British era. Why have we not updated it? Code of Criminal Procedure. As per CRPC, those convicted for life imprisonment have to undergo a minimum of 14 years of actual imprisonment before they can be considered for remission or premature release. So 14 years, not 15. 14 years before they can be considered for remission or premature release. What are the premature release rules? In this regard, there are several rules developed by different states related to remission and premature release. State governments have also developed premature release rules that include the power to give effect to governor's powers of remission under Article 161 of the Constitution. Agreed, governor is the one who is supposed to give the remission. But governor is not acting according to his or her own discretion. Governor will always act according to the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers headed by the Chief Minister in all those matters except where discretion is allowed. Clear? So generally all this comes under what? It is the state government ultimately that is taking the call there. These powers are not governed by CRPC and are often used to bypass the minimum 14 years of actual imprisonment requirement in the CRPC. So the powers of remission of the governor, if you see, it can be questioned only in a court of law, the merit of it. And this is often used what? To bypass the minimum 14 years requirement. Powers of remission. The Constitution of India has conferred pardoning power on the President of India and the governors of the state by Article 72 and Article 161. There are 5 types of pardoning powers, which are as follows. Because we are going on talking about remission, it is only commonsensical that we understand about what is pardoning power, what is respite, what is reprieve, what is commutation. Let us see it one by one. Pardon. Both the sentence and the conviction of the convict are completely absolved. That is, you are released. You don't have, you are no more a convict, you are given complete freedom. No more jail time, nothing. That crime also is completely, you absolved of it, you can go. Respite. Under this, a lesser sentence is awarded in place of one originally awarded to the convict. That is, from rigorous imprisonment, simple imprisonment could be given, where rules are a little less strict, less intense. This is invoked in case of physical disability of a convict or the pregnancy of a woman offender. She's a pregnant lady, she has a baby, she cannot undergo rigorous imprisonment, doing all the heavy tasks within the jail, etc. She will need simpler imprisonment so that she can deliver a healthy baby, etc. Reprieve. The execution of a sentence, especially that of death, is stayed for a temporary period. By doing this, it enables the convict to have time to seek pardon or commutation. Reprieve. Temporarily, your death sentence is stayed, during which you can apply either for pardon or commutation. Commutation means reduce the time period of your sentence. Remit. Period of the sentence is reduced, but the character of the sentence remains the same. That is remission we are talking about. For example, sentence of rigorous imprisonment for 2 years may be remitted to rigorous imprisonment for 1 year, but nature of the punishment remains the same, which is what? Rigorous. So here what has happened is, in this last 15 years, the particular convict told that I have not received remission of any sort. Not even once my time period was reduced. So now that I have crossed the mandatory 14 years, I request for remission. And using the simple technicalities or the loopholes in the law, all the 11 convicts were given remission. Under this, one form of punishment is converted into a lighter form, reducing the time period or reducing the impact of the punishment. Judicial decisions advocate both subjective and objective norms for remission. Courts have ruled that remission should be informed, fair and reasonable, and not arbitrary, that it should not undermine the nature of the crime. This is what the judiciary has to say in it. When remission is given to a particular convict, one must not forget the gravity of the crime committed. In Lakshman Naskar versus Union of India, the Supreme Court laid down 5 considerations. Whether the offense is an individual act of crime that does not affect society. Is it an individual act? But here it was not an individual act, it was a collective act. And does it affect the society? Rape against a woman sends what inside the minds of an ordinary person? Sends fear, definitely. Man or woman, it will send a fear. Why? Because automatically you make a prayer somewhere at the bottom of your heart that it should never happen to any woman or any lady or any girl that you know of. Automatically a prayer goes, automatically a fear goes. You automatically start getting scared for the safety and security of the women whom you know. Whether there is a chance of the crime being repeated in the future, repeated offenders, are they of that nature or not? Whether the convict has lost the potentiality to commit crime, that is too weak, too fragile, more than 70 years or 80 years old. Whether any purpose is being served in keeping the convict in prison, that is it better to keep the convict in prison? Because if it is like a case of a psychopath, a sociopath, then it is better that if you keep such a person inside the jail rather than releasing them out. Socio-economic conditions of the convict's family. The convict's family's condition is abjectly poor and they need the support of what? The convict for their basic level of survival. These are the 5 conditions laid down by the Supreme Court of a country in Lakshman Naskar versus Union of India. The million-dollar question here is whether this has been adhered to by the committee formed by the Gujarat government while remitting the sentences of the 11 convicts. Non-adherence to new remission policy 2014 by the Gujarat government is one criticism that has been put forward. But that criticism will not work here, because I told you, law is same for everybody. Even the convict also is entitled to basic human rights. The convict is also entitled to what? All the legal remedies that are available in this country. And as per the law, say for example, I'll tell you the logic behind this. Today, if a 17-year-old commits rape against a woman, what is the first thing that the government will do? First thing that the law enforcement agencies will, they'll produce him before a juvenile justice board, where it has to be proven that the child has performed or rather committed the crime as an adult, not as a child. That is the first litmus test there. Once it gets proven there, juvenile justice board proves that yes, he has committed the crime as an adult, not as a child. There is nothing in that entire criminal pattern with which the child behaved to say that he was a child. He has behaved like an adult. He will be tried in an adult court from then on. That is the existing law. Before Nirbhaya's gang rape case, such a law was never there. Always the legal loophole was used. That is, 17-year-old, immediately take it to juvenile justice. Immediately put him in juvenile housing. 3 years, be there, come out. This was the logic. But now more, because now the rule is strict. Same logic again. Same logic. That is, which is the date of the verdict. When was it? What was the existing remission policy on the date when the verdict was given? That is important. That is how the law functions. Always that is how the law has functioned. Changing it now would only tantamount to mayhem and confusion. Releasing these convicts is an act of exceptionalism which lies at the core of injustice in this case. It is an act of exceptionalism, right? Because if only 14 years is going to be the barrier, the litmus test, anybody who has completed 14 years, come on, let us release all of them now. That means what? There are so many people who are staying inside jail, were under trial convicts. That is, if they get convicted, the punishment could be for 5 years. Maximum punishment. But they are already in jail for 6 years. For the crime, that is, if I get convicted for the crime, I'll have to spend 5 years inside jail. I've already crossed 6 years. Trial is yet to start. If this logic, if we are going to apply, means almost everybody inside the jails of our country can get out. Against legal and constitutional directives under the CRPC, it is not permitted to have premature release of convicts in the form of revision or commutation in life sentences. As per the opinions of experts, such cases of premature release must be based on legal and constitutional scheme and not on a ruler's whims as done in this case. So, not on the ruler's whims. If you actually see, is it ruler's whims here? Partially yes and partially no. But largely what it is, legal loophole has been utilized. That is what has happened. Legal loophole has been utilized and the checks given by the judiciary was not adhered to. Violation of right to equality. In this case, a favorable treatment is given to the convicts, which is denied to an entire class of offenders convicted for similar offence across the country. There are so many people who are convicted under life imprisonment, 15 years if they complete, then we should start releasing everybody. Child rapists also, we should start releasing them. Murderers, we should start releasing them. Serial killers also, we should start releasing them. Based on this simple loophole. So that is a clear case of what? Right to equality being denied to other similar offences. Number one. Number two, what precedent are you creating here? Because laws are having pan-Indian validity. A policy or a law made with regard to law and order has got pan-Indian validity in the sense that this can be used as reference to claim remission by other convicts sitting in other jails. So should we follow this as the new precedent now? That is the other issue. It actually opens up Pandora's box. Diluting the deterrence of punishment. The idea of remission in case of heinous crimes such as rape, murder, etc. runs contrary to the spirit of contemporary thinking, which considers that strict punishment in cases of heinous crimes act as natural deterrence for the potential offenders. Let me take you back to another case. Case of a nurse who was raped brutally by one of the hospital staff back in Mumbai years ago. The person got released within a few years. But the victim had to undergo years and years of suffering. Now the question is, when the victim has undergone that many years of suffering, was it justice to release the perpetrator of the crime, the convict of the crime, so early? Getting the picture here? So that means automatically what does it mean? The gravity of the crime has to be always considered before giving remission. That has to be considered. It has also to be considered whether or not, to what extent society was affected by it. Even in the case of Nirbhaya gang rape case, what was the final verdict given by Supreme Court? Why did the Supreme Court give capital punishment there? To satisfy the collective conscience of the society. Because the society was erred. It was a blotch on the democracy. It was a fear that was put in the hearts of every law-abiding citizen of this country. That is why Supreme Court came with that verdict. So the same rule should have applied here also. The crucial question of remission should be decided based on the convict's expression of regret and some promise of reform, which is aligned with the ideals of reformative and rehabilitative justice. That is, the person is feeling totally remorseful and want to change himself for the crime committed. It would be unjustified if political considerations as alleged in this case due to the Gujarat elections are taken into account. So if this was an election stunt, then it is a clear picture on what? It is a clear picture of violation of rights. Rights, whose rights? Rights of the survivor. Apprehensions. The family of victims as well as civil society have voiced their apprehensions related to the release of the convicts, and they are welcomed by some sections of the society. So some of you would have seen the way they were welcomed, the way they were given sweets, and sadly there were women who were part of the crowd who welcomed them. Supreme Court observed in Nandini Sundar versus Chhattisgarh, it is the responsibility of the state to prevent untoward incidents and to prevent crime. So by doing so, what message is the state government trying to give to the society? What are the other issues with the case? Did not consult the central government here because the case was investigated by the CBI. So automatically, central government representatives should have been part of the committee, which was not there. Guidance can be obtained from Rome Statute, which deals with crimes against humanity. There is a clear indication that such convicts can be granted a sentence of up to 30 years, depending on gravity, brutality, and the context in which the crime occurs. That is what the Rome Statute says. With regard to heinous crimes, what should be the policy? Minimum 30 years. After 30 years, you think about whatever you want. Depending on, again, 30 years should be given depending on the heinousness, the gravity of the crime. And what is the interesting thing here? India is not a party to the Rome Statute. As a result of which, we are yet to make change in the law here. Getting the idea? Now coming to the difference in powers of pardoning, commutation, remission, etc., respite, reprieve between the president and the governor. President can pardon a sentence of the convict given by court-martial or the military court. President can do that, whereas governor does not have any such power. With regard to military court rulings or court-martial, governor cannot do anything. It is only the president can give any pardon with regard to a ruling given by military courts. Pardon the death sentence through commutation or in its entirety. That is, can pardon the sentence, reduce it from death penalty to life imprisonment, or remove it completely and release the convict. Governor can suspend it, remute it, or commute it. Temporarily suspending it, remuting it, that is giving temporary relief. Commuting it means substituting it for life imprisonment. President can use all these pardoning powers for laws coming under union list. Governor with regard to offences that comes under state laws. These are the two differences. Coming to the last poll question of the day. Consider the following statements in the context of pardoning powers of the President of India and the Governor. Under the Indian Constitution, which was recently in the news, both the President of India and the Governor of a state can pardon a sentence inflicted on the convict by a court-martial. The pardoning powers of both the President of India and Governor of a state extend to cases where the convict has committed an offence against the union law. Which of the statements given above is or are incorrect? Incorrect. 58% have answered it correctly, which is option C. And in the leaderboard, let us see who have been answering it correctly continuously. Abhijit S, Priya Rani, Talluri Anuradha, Nabin Kumar Parida, Alfred Jhalak. One second. Alfred Jhalak, Urmila De, Shakti Vel, Arzu Malik, Ananda Kumar D, Kapil, Bhumi Boyer, Anjali, Vaishali Chawla, Anshika Bajpai, K. Maunika, Sachin Rajput, Aditya Agarwal, Devarakonda Sailesh, Lalit Patel, Shikha. So congratulations to all of you. Continuously you have answered all the questions correctly. 50 on 50. Congratulations. Moving on to the premature release of prisoners must be done with discretion and wisdom. Discuss the statement in the light of the alleged misuse of the mechanism of remission in Bilkis Bano case. So, alleged misuse of remission. Is remission a bad thing then? Remission a bad thing? Yes, it is bad. Why? Because it doesn't look into the nature of crime. No, it is not. Law needs to be changed. Law needs to be changed. So, you will quote Rome Statute there. 30 years. 30 years minimum. If it is a heinous crime, throw them inside jail for 30 years. Even if the person was 20 years at the time of committing the crime, 20 plus 30, that is 50 years. All the productive age is gone. Life itself is gone. 30 years if you are in jail, that's it. Your entire soul also gets wiped out. So 30, 35 years if the person was in 65 years by the time you even think about remission. Clear? Then Supreme Court guidelines. Whether the crime was committed by an individual, whether it has affected the society, what is the convict's family situation, whether there is genuine remorse from the side of the individual. All these factors needs to be considered. Then, state should revamp remission policy. Consultation with central government, comma, judge who gave the sentence should be made mandatory. SOP, a standard operating procedure should also be made to put in picture like which are the people who can be released in such a way. If you don't put in all these in place, then what will it end up? People who are convicted of grievous crime, just because they spent 10, 14 years in jail, they can all be released. Ultimately, what is happening here? Executive interfering with the judicial verdicts. Whereas in the constitution, it is very clearly mentioned that executive is separate, judiciary is separate. Here, executive is involved behind remission policy. That cannot be taken that way. So some change should be made concretely here. Clear, people? If you cover all these points, easily you will get fodder for 250 words. Clear? So the definition can be what? Definition you can start with that of remission. Conclusion, obviously what? Obviously you have to end it on a positive note without being critical of the government. Getting the point here, because ultimately you are going to work for the government. So what you have to put up over there is, it is important for the elected government to ensure justice, to ensure democracy, to realize the, what is it, fundamental ideals behind the, that enshrined our constitutional preamble: liberty, equality, justice, fraternity. Clear? All that you have to mention there. And with that, you can end your answer note. Clear, people? With that, we come to an end of our webinar. All right. Digital currency, Deshmukh, it means currency which exists in only in the digital form. That is, I cannot hold it in my hand. Getting the idea? It is there virtually, I can do the transaction. That is what digital currency means. Full form of CBDC, Central Bank Digital Currency. Sir, can the wallet itself be hacked? That would be easier than hacking the blockchain itself. Shivraj, wallet itself will be a part of the blockchain. Not what the wallet is right now. That is, for Paytm now you have a wallet. PhonePe you have a wallet, correct? But this won't be like that. This will be like the entire wallet will be within the blockchain itself. Digital rupee is just like digital lending. Digital rupee like digital lending. Lending is different. Rupee, the digital rupee that is there, you can use it for not only lending, borrowing, buying, all the transactions. Just like a normal note. Clear? Kushbu. Pooja. How is digital money different from money in a bank account? Money in a bank account, I go there, put my ATM card, I'll be able to withdraw it. Correct? Digital money, the thing will be that it is protected with what? Digital currency. I can exchange it for fiat currency. A small exchange will be involved there. That's the only difference. Money in the bank account, I can withdraw. Digital currency, it is available there digitally. But then if I need it, dire need is there, I can go and withdraw it also. Much difference won't be there here. Agreed. Why? Because the purpose is not to replace the fiat currency. Purpose is to work in tandem. That is the purpose of digital currency. But maximum the process will encourage what? Use of digital currency itself. That is the whole idea. Can transaction happen? Can it take place between private bank to foreign bank? Yes, Gurpreet, it can happen. So far, no Drishti, no other country has their own CBDC. Many countries are contemplating over it about coming out with a central bank digital currency and all. But we are going ahead with it. Dr. Arjit, fiat currency. Fiat currency actually means 100 rupees note is there. Correct? 100 rupees note. This note is made out of paper or rather cellulose. Correct? What will be the value of that paper? Paper alone. That is before writing 2000 on it, or sorry, 100 on it. What will be the value of that? 1 rupee, 2 rupee. That's it. Not more than that. But because 100 rupees is written on it and then RBI governor's signature is there, then it becomes legally valid. Then its worth becomes what? 100 rupees. Otherwise, it does not have any value. So the intrinsic value of the currency note, if you see, it's only 2 rupees. But what is the value written on it? Who is giving it the legal guarantee? RBI governor. So what happens now? It has 100 rupees value. Fiat currency actually means the value written on the note is much more than the innate value or the intrinsic value of the material used to manufacture it. Cross-border payments means country to country, bank to bank, Indian bank to a foreign bank, individual in India to individual in some other part of the world. All these are cross-border payments. Anoki. Summer. Tax evasion simply means, say my annual income is 100 rupees. I am supposed to be paying 20 rupees as tax. I show to the government that my annual income is only 80 rupees. And I end up paying what? Only 16 rupees as tax. I forged some documents and I showed that no, my annual income is only 80 rupees. So for that 80 rupees, I paid 16 rupees as tax. Where ideally my tax liability was supposed to be what? 20 rupees. How much did I save? 4 rupees. What is that 4 rupees? That 4 rupees is what you call as tax evaded. Tax evasion means I am hiding my income and then paying lesser tax. That is evasion. Avoidance is a different concept. Tax avoidance means what? 20 rupees is my tax. But then I file HRI, house rent allowance. I am paying house rent every month. Because of that, I need not pay this tax now. It's an allowance. It is available legally. Tax avoidance is legal. Tax evasion is illegal. Anokhi. Digital currencies are an advantage to people. But what about the poor people? Will they be able to do this? Absolutely correct. That is why I told you. Financial literacy, internet, digital literacy, how to use a smartphone, how to conduct transactions online. All this are not available. Especially in the rural areas, if you go again, you will clearly find that women who are better at managing the finances, they have no clue as to how to operate a smartphone, let alone how to do transactions digitally. Offline payments by CBDC is there in the application. Then why worry about internet penetration and electricity? Please clarify. Neha. Agreed. Transactions for that, offline payments are there. But your security, for security you need blockchain technology. You need to verify data, cross-check the data, verify the authenticity, etc. For that you need internet. For that you need electricity. Getting the picture? Anything digital you talk about, offline it is available. Say for example, Google Slides or Google Word document, Google Sheets. Even without internet, your work will get saved. Offline, whatever you do, it will get saved. But you need to send this data somewhere. You need to download this data. That will become slightly difficult. Clear, people? I mean, clear, Neha? ₹100. Ankita, what is seigniorage? 100 rupees is the value of the currency. Cost of producing this paper here. This paper on which 100 rupees is written. That is, let us say 2 rupees. 100 minus 2, 98 rupees is what profit. For whom? Government. Clear? If it is a digital currency means you don't have to produce anything. Number one, no need of paper itself. First thing, no paper. Second thing, second biggest advantage, environmental advantage. Why? You are no more cutting down trees. So environmental degradation is not there. That is the other biggest advantage associated with what? Digital currency. Frequency of cloudburst might not have increased in India, but the natural period when cloudburst usually occurs in India is getting delayed, right? Bhuvanesh, can you just clarify it a little more? I'm not able to understand the question here. Natural period when cloudburst usually occurs in India is getting delayed. Natural period. Natural period is getting delayed. I'm not getting it correct. Can you just put it in better way if possible, Bhuvanesh? Sir, how can black money be totally prevented by CBDC? CBDC can only prevent black money to some extent only because black money can also be made by hiding the money obtained through businesses, and this process can't be prevented by CBDC. So what are the measures to curb the black money obtained through businesses? Agreed. In a country with more than 140 crore people, with businesses happening at a small scale level in small shops, etc., in the nook and corner of this country, black money to a large extent cannot be avoided. It will be there in the system, no matter what. But then, transactions can be caught. That is the point here. Excuse me. Some sort of allergy here. My bad. Anyway, the point here is, I will tell you an example. Very recently, the income tax department found out that most of the samosa sellers, pani puri walas, chai walas, etc. Chai walas, pani puri walas, when I say, I'm just telling with regard to their profession. What are they selling? Not degrading them or anything. These people are actually crorepathi's. Income tax officials found this out. And their assets runs into crores. But they are not paying any tax. Getting the point here, because most of the transactions, whatever they make, they are in what form? Hard cash. 20 rupees you went and gave, 20 rupees for that. How am I going to find the income tax for it? I can only get the tax out of them when they use that money which they have kept on saving in their savings account, when they use that money in bulk to buy a property, then I can charge a tax on them. That is the only way. That time what happens is I get their PAN number, I get their bank account detail, I get their telephone number. So now they are under my radar. So slowly, when more and more people come under the government radar, it becomes very difficult to make transactions evading the government. That is the point. So the extent it can be reduced. That is the idea. Bulk transactions, etc., will become a thing of the past. It will simply not be possible. Especially in the good old days, how it used to be, whatever black money was there, invested in real estate. It was the most easiest thing to do. But these days it is very difficult, because if you are buying a property beyond a certain value, you will easily have to show from where is the source of income coming from. Show that entire money chain tray. So if you cannot show it, then automatically you will be liable for a good explanation to the concerned authorities. Mitigation measures, meaning of mitigation measures, puja. Mitigation measures means to avoiding something. How to mitigate a disaster, reduce a disaster. That is what mitigation means. Can you explain the diagram for cloudburst again? That is your mountain. Hot air rising up. Hot air, as it rises up, temperature as we go higher and higher is lesser. As a result of which, what happens? It leads to cloud formation. Clear? Now clouds, it forms. Ideally, what happens as water vapor starts getting condensed, cloud formation also happens. But then water should have got released. But that doesn't occur. Why? Because the hot air that is coming from down, it is pushing the clouds further up. Going on pushing it further up and going on supplying it with again further hot air, moist air, which keeps adding to the strength of the cloud. Cloud gets forms bigger and bigger. And with this, what happens? Finally, it comes to a point where the cloud cannot hold any more water vapor, because it has risen also and it cannot hold the water vapor anymore. That time, it starts raining. Sudden intense rain. Later on, the cloud moves towards the other side of the mountain, the leeward side of the mountain. But then by then what happens? You have hardly few drops here falling. Most of the rain would have come on this side. This is the classic example, or rather the working of cloud burst. Hope that explains it, Shrishti. Example for abuse of dominant position. Jenny, a few years ago, I think one movie was Son of Sardar, and I think the other movie was Jab Tak Hai Jaan, Shah Rukh Khan's movie. My memory serves it me right. Both these movies had a clash, where Competition Commission of India, apparently Ajay Devgan went and filed a complaint against Yash Raj Productions that they used their dominant position in the market to book all the theatres in advance and block the theatres, as a result of which Son of Sardar got very less theatres. Clear. But Competition Commission of India just threw away the case because they said that this decision was taken by Yash Raj Movies much before, even before the movie of Son of Sardar was announced. They had blocked the theaters much earlier than even any other movie could be made. So this does not construe as what? Abuse of dominant position. Abuse of dominant position simply means what? You are the sole player there. You're creating conditions where other competitors cannot survive in that field. That is what it means. Deal value means say for example, Naufal, you are having a company, I am also having a company. We decide to join hands together, whereby which I will pay you, I will buy a certain share of your company, let us say 30% of your company for 150 crores, whereby which now you and I are partners now for your company, 30% I am buying. This is a merger. Clear? Merger it is between two companies. Now, what is the deal totally struck for? 150 crore. That is what you call the deal value. Gauri, what is green channel? Green channel, ideally when we say green channel, in any context, when we say, it simply means no restrictions, free movement. That is what it ideally means. And in that sense of Competition Commission of India, when you talk about green channel, it simply means you are getting a quick clearance. Quick clearance is given. For any mergers or acquisitions that have happened, quick clearance is given if all the criteria has been met. Nabeen, what is cartelization? Cartelization simply means, case in point being, let us take Saudi Arabia, Kuwait. Together these two, all right, these two together are deciding what should be the crude oil prices. They are deciding it. A cartel is deciding, a group of companies or a group of countries together deciding what should be the cost price of a product, or rather the selling price of a product, not based on market, because based on market means it would mean what? It would be based on supply and demand. Supply is more, automatically demand will come down. Supply is less, automatically demand will go up. Demand is low means what will happen? Price also will be low. Demand is more means price also will be high. That is what you call market determined prices. But here in the cartelization, what happens is cartel will determine what is the price of the product. Clear? What is meant by rechargeable tags? Rechargeable tags, Bhuvanesh, your FASTags especially. Say for example, now my FASTag is connected to my Paytm account, my Paytm wallet. So what happens? All I have to do is keep recharging my Paytm wallet. Whenever it falls below 500 rupees, what do? I recharge the Paytm wallet with another 500. I keep it always in and around 1000 rupees, so that whenever I enter a FASTag toll, automatically the money gets deducted out. What if no money is there? In the toll screen, they will show something known as blacklist. Blacklist means what? You don't have sufficient balance in your account for the money to be deducted, or you have zero balance in your Paytm wallet, not in your bank. Paytm wallet, you don't have enough money. So what I will have to do then? I will have to pay the money in cash, which is double the normal FASTag rate. Number one. How to come out of this blacklist situation? Very simple. Recharge my Paytm wallet again. Sri Lakshmi, is there no one to monitor it? Isn't there a possibility to hack it? ANPR, as of now, no. Could these cameras read number plate of vehicles of earlier of 2019? No, Jyoti. Sir, it will generate unemployment for the traffic police officers because manpower will get replaced by technology and it also need a huge amount of money to develop the technology. Tanisha, you're partly correct. It will definitely lead to huge investment will be required. Goes without saying. But we must understand one thing. Indian police is one of the most understaffed police force in the world. So rather than putting our police force on traffic management, etc., they should actually be looking into what? Other crimes of serious nature. Not that standing and hiding in corners, immediately jumping on people who are not wearing helmet or seat belt, checking whether they have drunk alcohol or not. That is not their job actually. Their job should be to fight crime of serious nature. Clear? Sir, in the case of ANPR, how will be the fine collected in the case of second-hand vehicle in which the users are not official owner? Bhumi. See, second-hand owner doesn't matter, right? Once the registration changes to my name, if I am the second-hand owner, registration changes to my name, henceforth when the ANPR is read, my name will come there. My mobile number will come there. My Paytm wallet will come there. Clear? If someone makes fraud on number plate of the car, what is the success of automatic number plate? See, if they make a fraud, what is the first thing? You will go to jail. That is the first thing. Clear? Anything that you forge, even if you change your date of birth from 7 you make it 6, 6 you make it 5, that is forgery. That is a criminal offense. I think minimum punishment is anywhere between 1 to 3 years. What are the functions of NHRC? NHRC, Preetham, there are a lot of functions of NHRC. Basically, to look into any case of human right violation, any case of violation of, the rights of children, women, everything. Blanket wrapping, they see everything. Yes, there are separate commissions to deal with this, but NHRC basically looks into acts of violation, acts of excesses committed by the executive agencies, comprising of administrative officers, police officers, etc. Acts even of excesses even committed by the legislature also for that matter. Any law which, hampers the progress of an individual from any particular community, any particular religion, all that NHRC will look into. Details of it is available in your Lakshmikant textbook. Please go through them. As remission is a discretion of government, so government could have denied it. Neha, yes, government was within its powers. Government could have easily advised the governor or the committee concerned also could have taken a decision against the release of the convicts. They could have taken that, made that choice also. Agreed. Shivaraj, the policy of 1992 just provided for appeal for remission. Absolutely correct. That is what I meant. They used the loopholes within the law. It gives a mandate. It gives a step-by-step procedure. This you can do this, you can do this. They literally used those loopholes in favor of the convict. Ultimately, like some of you have suggested here, government could have actually taken a call and denied remission completely. Can court use its creativity and say that 2014 policy is retrospective? Actually, no. In Indian law, we know it, that only for civil cases, retrospective amendment is allowed, not for criminal cases. Getting the idea? For criminal cases, it is not there. And that is the reason, because again, if you bring retrospective amendment for this particular case, or for the remission policy here, again, it will create new bout of trouble. Without doing retrospective amendment itself, if they would have simply followed judicial precedents, judicial guidelines, involved the CBI, special court judge, representatives from the central government, representatives even from the civil society, things would have been different. What are the pardoning powers that are given by president and governor, and which are the powers that only president can give? Only president can give pardoning powers with regard to court martial or rulings given by a military court. Only the president has the powers to pardon a capital punishment, not the governor. Sir, how a rapist can be a child, isn't it weird? It is weird. Salvin, CRPC, Criminal Procedure Code, it is basically a list of the mandates or procedures that has to be followed or punishments that are recommended for every criminal activity out there. It talks about punishments basically. Clear? Sir, please explain blockchain once again. I'll explain blockchain to you with a concept called as electronic voting, which can probably become the future of voting pattern. So this was tried in the Municipal Council of Telangana and they found it to be a huge success. So what was the procedure involved here? As usual, UIDAI is involved. Your Aadhaar, that is connected with your, clubbed with your what? Voter's ID card. So Election Commission of India comes into picture. This data is cross-checked with what? This data is cross-checked with your mobile number. Try. And into this now, what is cross-checked? You will be given a window whereby which the front camera of your phone will be operated and your real-time photo will be taken. All this is combined into one big block, and that is blockchain technology. Each block clubbing together and one single block. Now what happens? Can I hack this anywhere? If I need to make a change here, if I try to change my voter's ID, immediately UIDA will find out this is not the voter's ID with which Aadhaar was linked. If I try to change my Aadhaar, immediately mobile number will detect this is not the mobile number, Aadhaar number to which the mobile was registered. If I try to change my photo here, when I operate my front camera, easily they will detect that this is not the photo registered in Election Commission or UIDA or even in the photograph given for mobile connection. That simply means there is no single point of failure in blockchain technology because it is like a distributed ledger. Data is distributed around. That is blockchain technology for you. Hope that explains it. Rome Statute meaning Priya, it means it's a law. It's a law actually that actually says what has to be done, what punishment has to be given minimum for very heinous crimes. Can EVM be hacked, Nikhil sir? Saurav, EVM's technology is similar to the technology that is available inside a calculator. So if you can hack EVM means you should be able to hack a calculator, which is simply not possible. The EVM machine, when it comes, representatives of all the political parties who are present who are taking part in the election, they have to test. The seals are opened in front of them. The representatives from the political party has to test them, has to ascertain that yes, these are in working condition. They have to sign and give. Only then it will go there. For that level of hacking to take place, either that level of complicated electronic chip or circuit should be present. Nothing is there. When you press A will come. Like in a calculator, if you press 1 will come. That's it. You cannot hack a calculator. Similarly, you cannot hack an EVM. In fact, if my memory serves it correct, apparently the electronic voting machine was brought into the parliament and it was even checked there. And they were asked to prove, to show how EVM can be hacked. It cannot be hacked. Scientifically, it cannot be done. So most questions are getting repeated. Can Supreme Court change the remission policy of the state? ER Ajay. Ajay, actually, no. Supreme Court cannot directly interfere and change the policy of an elected government. An elected government passes a rule inside a Legislative Assembly, after due deliberations, etc., Supreme Court cannot actually directly change it. Supreme Court can strike it down, but even then, it is within the powers of the legislature to pass the rule or law again. So Supreme Court cannot directly intervene because law and order is a state subject, first of all. So on what ground Supreme Court is striking it down, Supreme Court also has to make it clear. Will ANPR work in all types of weather conditions, Ragini? Ideally, so far they say it will work, but we'll have to wait and watch. Sir, can you please explain competition bill in brief? So it talks about establishment of a CCI already, reducing the number of days from 210 to 150. Deal value will be considered for taking prior permission from CCI as well as for penalty purposes. Clear? These are few of the points here. Or do one thing, I will just take it from top. Yeah. Decisive influence is the other condition here. Decisive influence means what? Earlier it was only decisive influence. Today, material influence will be there. What is material influence? With regard to every goods, supplies, whatever is being used within the merger and acquisition, the control will include material influence also. Then, it provides a framework for settling disputes, whereas earlier there was no such thing. You can approach CCI directly for any remedial measures even before CCI takes action on you. Penalty I discussed already. CCI can appoint the Director General, whereas earlier central government used to do it. Now CCI can appoint the general with the prior approval from the government. Clear, people? Can't government supersede its previous law with retrospective effect? Generally, with regard to criminal laws, it is not possible. But yes, government is within its powers to do it. But whether it will pass the test of constitutionality, whether it will pass the test of relevance in the High Court and the Supreme Court, it is a matter of question. How they will interpret it, how the constitutional bench will interpret it, these are all wider discussions. Clear? So we cannot go into all of that. Apart from that, some questions very, especially with regard to a few of the important current affairs which had happened, especially in Jharkhand, as well as with one of the cases against a poor girl, a girl in school was killed very recently by her jilted lover, apparently her jilted lover. So the point here is these topics again, we can only take it up for a discussion, maybe over a cup of coffee. Because like I told you, the purpose of a discussion shouldn't be controversy. The purpose of a discussion should be, what are you trying to do as a civil servant there? As a civil servant, what will you do there to prevent this? As an IAS officer, what will you do? As an IPS officer, what will you do? You can interpret these questions as questions of ethics. Frame a question, write and send us the answer. And then put your thoughts there. That is what is relevant. Clear? Tajinder, I hope that makes it clear. M. Veena, human rights courts are there to oversee the violations. Then what is the function of NHRC? M. Veena, please go through NHRC chapter for making it clear. I already gave a gist of it. Please go through it. It will become more clear. If someone wants to change the old car number plate to new one for ANPR system, where can they do that? Obviously, you will have to go to the motor vehicles department of your area. Go there, request for a new number plate. Can't the gate themselves be done away with and transaction of tolls done by single point detection using RFID or ANPR? Using RFID, If you remove the gates, what happens is, like I told you, if I am driving the car at 60 km per hour and I'm coming very fast into that area, the scanner that is kept above will not read the tag. With a camera, it is possible. The whole idea of an ANPR is that you remove the gate itself and keep the ANPR camera there. So no matter how fast you're coming, it will read it. One more thing what you can do is, yes, you can put humps. Hump after hump you can put, so that vehicle is completely slowed down. Enough time is there for the RFID tags to pick up the tag and move on. That is very much possible. But then these are things which needs to be implemented. Implementation matters. Clear, people? So that was the last question. Adil, I hope that clears it. That was the last question. Hope this session was informative for you. All right. Any queries or any concerns, please send it to the mentorship number. Please write to us, IAS webinar@byju's.com. Any concerns with regard to any subject specific doubts, etc., please contact the mentorship number 78292333330. All right, people. God bless. Take care.